She laughed. "You're always the one who pays." So I left her with the $400 check, walked out of the diner, and ended everything right there. I'm Ethan, 34, and for way too long, I didn't realize just how much I was getting taken advantage of. If you've ever been the one always paying while someone else kicks back, you know what I mean? It all started when I began dating her. Let's call her Anna. At first, it just felt normal to pick up the expenses. First dates, coffee, nice dinners, I paid without a second thought. I liked her, and it felt like a way to show I cared. She would smile, give me a peck on the cheek, and call me the sweetest. That meant a lot to me back then. Initially, it didn't seem like a big deal. I wasn't rolling in cash, but I had some savings and a decent routine. Paying for an occasional meal or movie didn't bother me. I thought, if I have a little extra, why not share it with someone special? But over time, things shifted. I remember one night clearly. We were out for pizza with a few of her friends, just laughing and having a good time until the bill came, and suddenly it got quiet. Without thinking, I reached for my wallet. Everyone else just sat there. Anna looked at me and casually said, "You've got this, right, babe?" Then she laughed like it was the most natural thing in the world. So I paid. That laugh became a habit. Every time we went out, my card ended up on the table. At first I thought, next time, she'll take care of it. But that next time never came. The small expenses started to add up. Gas money? Covered it. Movie nights? I bought tickets, popcorn, drinks, the whole deal. Weekend trips? Yep, all on my card. If her card didn't work, mine was always on standby. She always promised she'd pay me back, but the cash never showed up. Eventually, I stopped even bothering to ask. And here's the kicker, she wasn't broke. She had a job, a paycheck, and her own bank account. She easily could have pitched in. But why would she when I made it so easy not to? Every time I paid without a word of complaint, I was teaching her that Ethan would always be the one picking up the tab. The night it really hit me was when she planned this special dinner. All her choices, from the restaurant to the menu. Drinks, steak, dessert. It all added up to over $250. When the check came, she slid it right over to me without even pretending to look for her wallet. No hesitation at all. I paid, but I felt like I was signing my freedom away. Walking her home that night, I felt awful. It wasn't just about the money. I realized she saw me not as a partner, but as a provider. That was the first time I actually understood that. I didn't say anything then, just smiled and went home, feeling the weight of it all. But something shifted that night. I decided I wasn't going to make a fuss. I just wouldn't pay for everything anymore. After that dinner, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm not her boyfriend. I'm just her wallet. I decided to see what would happen if I stopped treating everything like my responsibility. Not with a big announcement, just quietly holding back. A few days later, we were at a cafe for lunch. Just sandwiches and iced coffee, nothing fancy. When the bill came, I sat back and waited. Anna looked at the check, then at me. "Babe," she said, sliding it toward me like she always did. I smiled and replied, "Let's split it." The confusion on her face was priceless. "Wait, split it? Seriously?" she asked. "Yeah," I replied. "That's fair, right?" She laughed nervously, pulled out her phone, and claimed she'd forgotten her card at home. "You'll grab this one, and I'll get the next one, I promise." Spoiler alert, she didn't. From then on, everything started to unravel. Gas money? Suddenly she didn't have cash. Movie nights? Her card didn't work again. Whenever we went out, she waited for me to pull out my wallet. When I didn't, things got tense. The crazy part? She had her own paycheck and savings. But why would she dip into hers when I was always around to cover it? She had gotten comfortable with it. I had trained her to expect it. The breaking point was a couple of weeks later. Anna's birthday rolled around, and she wanted to celebrate with a fancy dinner at an upscale restaurant downtown. Plenty pricey enough that I would have thought twice about going. She even invited a couple of friends. We sat at a big table, ordering starters, cocktails, and desserts. Everyone was having a great time. When the bill came, it was over $400. The waiter placed it right in the middle of the table. Anna didn't hesitate. She slid it straight to me. Her friends didn't reach for their wallets. Not a word was said. It was like the whole table knew what my role was. My heart sank as I stared at that bill, thinking about all the other times. Pizza nights, road trips, concerts, all the empty promises of next time that had never happened. I thought about her little comments, like, "You've got this, right?" That made me feel less like a partner and more like a credit card with legs. And against my better judgment, I paid again. On the walk home after that dinner, she wrapped her arm around me, smiling, thanking me for such a wonderful night. But inside I felt sick. It wasn't just about the money. It was what it represented. She didn't see me as someone to share her life with. She saw me as her sponsor, her safety net. That night I made a real decision. No more. Not a single bill. Not a single excuse. Not another empty promise of, "I'll get the next one." I wasn't about to announce it or argue. I was just going to stop paying. And when the next chance came to not reach for my wallet, that's when everything started to crumble. The first real test of my resolve happened one Friday night. Anna suggested we go to a sports bar to catch a game. Just the two of us this time, which made me think maybe things would feel different. We ordered wings, fries, and a pitcher of beer. It was a good night, filled with cheering and laughter. For a moment, it felt like those early days when paying didn't feel like a burden. But then the check came. Anna glanced at it and slid it across the table to me like always. This time, though, I didn't budge. I leaned back in my chair, sipped my beer, and focused on the TV. The silence was deafening. She tapped the bill. "Babe." I looked over and replied calmly, "Not this time. Split it." Her smile faded. "Wait, what? Split it?" I repeated, "That's fair." She stared at me in disbelief, then let out a short laugh, as if thinking I was joking. "You're seriously making a big deal over some wings and beer?" That struck a nerve. I set my glass down and leaned in. "A big deal? I've been covering everything for years. Dinners, tickets, gas. All of it, and you've never paid once. Tell me how that's not a big deal." Her face shifted from amusement to annoyance, and she crossed her arms, muttering, "Wow, so you're keeping score now? That's attractive." The check sat there like a spotlight between us. For the first time, she slowly reached into her bag, pulled out her card, and dropped it on the table. When the waitress came back, Anna barely touched her food. On the walk home, she didn't hold my hand and wouldn't even look at me. That night marked the real beginning of the end. Over the next few weeks, I stuck to my decision. When we went out, I only paid for myself. If she suggested a movie, I bought just one ticket. If she asked me to cover her because she forgot her card, I said no. Her reactions were swift. At first, she was shocked, as if she couldn't believe I was serious. Then came the guilt trips. "Do you really not love me enough to treat me once in a while?" she'd say, completely ignoring how I had been treating her for years. When that didn't work, she turned angry. She called me stingy, claimed I'd changed, said money had gotten to my head. But the truth was, money hadn't changed me. I had simply stopped letting her use me. I felt the breaking point with Anna approaching. It was inevitable. And deep down, I knew it wasn't going to end smoothly. One Sunday morning, she called, craving breakfast at a diner we both loved. Just the two of us, simple. I thought it might be a chance to clear the air, to reset things. We sat at a booth by the window. She ordered big pancakes, bacon, eggs, and endless coffee. I kept it simple with just eggs and toast. For most of the meal, things felt normal. We chatted about the week, laughed about a show we'd watched. Then the check arrived, set down in the middle. Without missing a beat, Anna slid it over to me, just like before. I didn't reach for it. She looked puzzled. "What are you doing?" I replied, calm as ever, "I'm not paying this time." Her eyebrows shot up. "You're seriously not paying?" "No," I said. "Why should I?" Her tone sharpened. "Because you always do. That's your thing." That sentence hit me like ice water. That's your thing. Not kindness or partnership or love. Just my role. In this relationship, it felt like my whole identity boiled down to just paying for things. I pushed the bill back towards her. Being your boyfriend is my role, not just being your wallet. Her expression twisted, and she scoffed, shaking her head as if I was being ridiculous. Seriously, you're making a big deal over a silly breakfast bill. It's not about just breakfast, I countered. It's about everything. Every dinner, every trip, every excuse. I've paid for all of it, thousands of dollars, without you ever offering to chip in. Not once. She paused, silent for a moment, then snapped back. You're overreacting. Couples are supposed to share. That's part of love. Sharing should go both ways, I replied quietly. But this hasn't felt like sharing. It's been me paying while you just take. The quiet that followed hung heavy, more intense than any fight we'd had before. Eventually, she pulled out her purse, took out a 20, and slammed it on the table. Standing up, she shot me a disgusted look and said, "If money is more important to you than love, then I really don't get why we're together." With that, she stormed out, leaving her plate half-finished and her coffee still warm. I sat there staring at that check. It was never just about the money. It was what her response revealed. She didn't love me. She loved what I could give her. And that realization hurt. I wasn't her partner. I was her provider. That was the last time Anna and I ever shared a table. The weeks that followed were tough. Letting go of someone you've built routines and memories with is painful, even if the relationship was off balance. I found myself missing her voice, her laughter, the comfort of simply having someone around. But then I'd replay that line in my mind, "That's your thing," and the ache would transform into clarity. Because if someone only values you for what you can give, then they don't really value you at all. After that diner incident, Anna and I never spoke again. No apologies, no conversations, no closure, just silence. First, I felt dumb. For weeks, I questioned if I'd been too harsh or if I should have handled it differently. But every time I replayed her words, "That's your thing. You always pay," I knew I'd made the right choice. The truth is, what happened with Anna isn't uncommon. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how many people fall into that same cycle of entitlement. Some grow up spoiled, never having to reach for a check because someone else always covered them. Others play the victim, saying, "I'm broke. Help me out," leaning on guilt to get what they want. And then there are people like Anna who find someone generous and push until that person breaks. It's not random. It's how these patterns develop. When one person always pays, the balance of the relationship shifts, stops being fair. You're no longer partners. You become a provider. And once someone gets used to that role, they won't willingly give it up. Why would they? A free ride is hard to resist. The toughest realization for me was that I allowed it. I taught her to see me this way. Every time I paid without saying anything, every time I let her forget her card, and every time I said, "I'll cover it." Instead of suggesting we split the bill, I was just reinforcing the idea that this was normal. By the time I finally set a boundary, it wasn't just about one bill anymore. It was about years of unbalanced expectations. Losing her really hurt. I missed all the good times we had, the laughter, the road trips, and our inside jokes. But the truth is, none of those moments were free. I had been footing the bill for them one payment at a time. And when I finally stopped supporting her financially, those moments disappeared. That was definitely a turning point for me. Here's what I learned. Being endlessly generous isn't true kindness. It can actually lead to my own downfall. When you never turn someone down, they start to think of you as weak rather than generous. For someone who thinks they're entitled, that kind of weakness is just a chance to take even more. So now I just take care of my own needs. If a friend or partner really needs assistance, I'm okay with helping them out once, but I make it clear that it won't happen regularly. Genuine love and real friendship shouldn't come with a price tag. The people who remained in my life after I stopped footing the bill respect me a lot more. They don't expect me to cover their costs, and they don't judge my value based on money. Looking back, I really wish I had put those boundaries in place sooner. I wish I had grasped that saying no doesn't mean you're being selfish. It shows you're strong enough to ask for respect.